Welcome back to another episode of Recovery Life. My name is Latoya, and we are back. I have a repeat offender, somebody who we didn't scare off the last time, who's going to be here joining us, and I'm just going to have her introduce herself. Since we're doing something that has not been done in over a decade on this show, I am going to allow this young lady to interview moi. How are you doing?
Hey, it's Kaitlynn. I'm doing really well. I'm super excited to be here with you today, that I have the honor to ask some questions and see how your recovery has been for you. It's been how long?
13 years. 13 years.
All right, awesome. And so, that being said, what are some, early in your recovery, what made you turn your life over?
I was tired. I was really tired. Emotionally tired. My skin was tired. Literally, my spirit was dead. I was literally just blinking, just existing, and I just couldn't find something to live for at the time, and I was tired.
Yeah. Okay, I understand that. So,
It's okay.
So many people look up to you, and your story is quite impressive. You've done a lot of things in your life with your career and everything like that. Where did you start up from? How did it all begin?
My career, so that's a good one. When I came here, I had lost everything, literally, to the disease of addiction, and I came back to Connecticut from Las Vegas, and I had literally had nothing left, and I went to a program. And I was humbled, ED, where I lost everything and I had nothing left to offer, like I said. And I was working for this factory, and I was making $8.75 an hour after making $100,000 a year at my previous job.
Okay.
And $8.75 an hour, and I was just dead set on doing something different, which means I had to start from scratch and learn how to appreciate stuff. And that's what happened. I started to appreciate life.
Definitely. When we start to appreciate life, we begin to adapt to changes around us. So in beginning to change and get that new job, like, what were those fears that you had going into something new like that?
I thought my history, my background, I had been in and out of prison. I recover out loud, so I had been in and out of prison, and I didn't even know how to break laws. I was really just getting stuff like trespassing and not going to court, so it just dragged and dragged and dragged and dragged for years in the 90s. I just couldn't. What'd you say? Ask me again, because I just went back to that place of
So
jail.
what are the fears that you had when you were moving into like the new career, getting ready to, because you were making so much money, you were humbling yourself, so add on to some of those fears that you had on top of everything, because when we go into recovery, it's all new, and definitely being scared is something a lot of people deal with.
Well, failure was already happening to me. In my mind, I was already failing, right? Because I wasn't a good drug addict. Obviously, I kept 27 rehabs. I was not good drug addict. So the fear was not trying for me at this point. I was like, the only thing I haven't done is tried.
Yeah.
And I wanted to try, and I wanted to do something better with myself, and I was afraid of not trying.
Definitely. Okay, so moving forward a little bit, a couple of the years, what is something that you would have changed in your early recovery?
Ooh, something I would have changed in early recovery. I don't know. You know what? That question is difficult, because if I would have changed anything in early recovery, I wouldn't be here right now with you. So any little thing could alter the future. That's how I think.
That is true, yeah.
So I'm not sure about that question.
Okay. So you do a lot of recovery work. You base like a career off of that. So how do you maintain yourself at the end of the day when you have all this recovery going on for your place of work, everything you do outside of work,
Sometimes I want to scream. I want to just say, like, I want to be tired. I want to not get up some days. I want to not coexist with other people outside of my home. And those are the days I realize that that might be something that I'm depleted emotionally, and I have to look into that more. There's days where recovering is work. Recovery is work all the time, but there's days where recovering is work. You know, it's a lot, and I push myself to help other people, even when it hurts.
So, being that, like that being said, what are some of the things that you do for you in your recovery?
I talk to my sponsor a lot. I love her so much. Hey, Leah girl. I love my sponsor. I am around newcomers all the time. I pray. I talk to God a lot, because without God, I would absolutely be non-existing, and I wouldn't know where to put the puzzle pieces together, because he has control of my life map. So I prayer. I get involved in the community. I talk to my husband a lot, who's 22 years in recovery, who is like a guru. He's gonna cuss me out later for that, but I believe he knows the literature inside and out, and it's just good to have that for me, because it helps me to stay productive in my recovery and active. So I pray. I talk to my sponsor. I talk to newcomers. I work on my steps. I emotionally connect to the spiritual principles in everything that I do. I try to anyways.
Yeah, that's all we can do. What's a challenge that you've had that almost jeopardized everything?
A challenge that I've had that almost jeopardized everything. Okay, so my aunt helped raise my kids. And one of them was graduating from high school. And because she did so much of the nose cleaning, the butt wiping, and all of that stuff, and I was struggling, you know, and that's why I don't want to get off track. So, but I promote parents help them with their children when they're using, and I never ever think that we should ever forget that they do a great job, right? So I was invited to go to his graduation by him, and my aunt was not happy about that, because she didn't feel like I had earned that right. And I struggled with that. You know, I struggled with that a lot, because it had me question a lot of my existence, because I'm like, here I am, this recovering woman. I'm helping women get their kids back. I'm helping people connect the dots to their life, and my life is still not connected, 100%. But that was the recovering part as well, because it's not always going to connect, right? But we just don't use through it, right? Definitely. So when I talked to my sponsor through that moment, and my sponsor had asked me these questions, and she was like, where are you? And I said, I'm in my car. And she said, do you have your ticket? And I said, yes. And she said, is your son waiting for you? And I said, yes. And she said, say less, clap loud, and get moving. And that is what I needed, because that was a tough moment for me. It was a choice of either respecting my family and not causing harm, or causing my son harm, because he wanted me there, right? So I took a chance, and I went and I supported my son, and then I went to my aunt's house afterwards for food, and it was never mentioned. But
how did it make you feel at the end of all of it? After all, like the craziness and the nervousness, after everything was said and done, how did it make you feel?
Sad.
Yeah.
I was happy for the moment with my son, but I was very sad that I couldn't be a part of the family dynamic of it and just have us all embrace the moment together. You know, it was one of those times where I realized that the disease of addiction had put that separation in there, because somebody gave up a lot of their life to help me with the raising of my children. And it was a moment they wanted for themselves, and it was a moment that my son wanted me to be there. So it was tough for me. It was a tough moment. I enjoyed, and my son, and I don't regret being there. I got one of the only pictures of him in his cap and gown. But I really wish that it could have been more of a family celebration, and not I'm in this room, they're in this room, that type of thing.
Yeah, so I've noticed, I've been to some of your parties, and I've met your family, and you seem very family oriented, and I love that about you. Who is your biggest supporter in your family?
Ooh. Who is my biggest supporter in my family? My bloodline family? Not my, okay.
Whatever you choose.
Who's my biggest supporter in my family? Okay, my cousin Shantae. She was the one y'all would dress similar.
Yeah.
She is a psychologist. And when I got my license to be a counselor, she supported me 1,000,000,000%. She was so happy because she watched me struggle through all of active addiction. And when I sent her a picture of me passing for CADC first, she was like, oh my God, like so happy about it. And that was another level of support for me.
Good. I love that. I want to hear more about your family. I know that you have had struggles in the past, and to this day, it's hard when it comes to family. So my question for you is, how do I word it the right way? Other than them being your biggest supporter, who do you turn to when you want help? Maybe they can't give that to you or not there for you, but who is somebody that you want to depend on?
My mom probably still. I call her about certain things because she does understand the recovery part of things. And I'm very careful with that because I'm very close with my sponsor, and I don't ever want my mom to feel like there's a replacement for her in any place, but there is always going to be a separation in those relationships, and I'm not going to be able to go to my mom about certain things that are going to be deeply rooted, and that's not a bad thing, but it's something that I had to learn through the steps. That I may never get that. And it's up to me to find it where I'm supposed to find it, and it's with my recovering family. You know, my recovering family is important to me, literally. Like that's my ace. You know, when it comes to it, they understand my level of craziness. So I go to them when my mind is like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs with no milk. I go to them and I'm like, I feel anxiety, or I feel, you know, I've made up this whole scenario in my mind that didn't happen yet. Like, you know, I could sit in this chair and be fired, terminated, divorced, all this stuff, and never moved because of the obsession that I can go into, right? So I think that the family dynamics is not always going to be the bloodline when it comes to what I need at the time. And I might just disappoint myself if I think any differently because they're not all groomed to know how to handle that part of me still.
I get that, definitely. So you do a lot of like community work for everybody. I noticed when the state funding, you did everything you could to get everybody together and try to help in any way that you could. Is there anything that happened in your life that made you decide like I need to help others, or is it something that you've always had? Where does that want stem from?
So I'm a very, believe it or not, selfish friend. So when I was a young girl, I had 2 friends, one on each side of us growing up, and they couldn't even have sleepovers unless I was invited or I was there. I don't think they should be having sleepovers if I'm not there. So I was very territorial. And so when I love in a territorial kind of way. And we all suffer from the same disease. And I know that there's healing in this because I am experiencing it for my own self. And so it's very important for me to be a part of somebody else's healing process, even if I'm indirectly not even involved. I want to make sure that they have the opportunity to be able to heal the way that I am experiencing. Not exactly the way I'm experiencing, but to know that it is possible to be able to even start that process. And that's why I love to be involved and to help people know that we can recover and we can enjoy ourselves and not use, you know, and I like to be able to witness that for myself.
You've always been a true supporter for the women. And that's something a lot of people really look up to you for. I'm noticing you always make sure that they're okay, and you want to make sure that they're in a safe place. Where did you acquire some of those tools?
So I didn't have a lot of Barbie dolls when I was little. I think I had one and I lost her, or I might have popped her head off. I don't know which one happened. I think that might have happened because then I started getting those dolls with no body. They just sat there on the flat on the table.
Yeah.
And so I didn't get to have like sleepovers and stuff as a young girl at my home. My mom was, kind of real strict. Mm-hmm. And I like, this probably has nothing to do with what you just asked, because that's how I'm but ask me again.
The tools that you have or acquired to be a girl's girl, to be there for girls, because I've noticed in the community it's hard for the girls to embrace and be together and be in big, large groups, other than like the men that you see in the recovery. And so I was wondering where you got those tools from to help, because you do it fantastically.
Oh,
you
thank
do.
You, girl.
All the girls want to be around you. We love you.
I love y'all too. And I think that's where I was going with the dolls, is that I am very good at sharing toys and gifts. And I, again, love what it feels like. Once somebody showed me that recovery works, I fell in love with recovery. And I also fell in love with the potential for other people to have that same experience. And this is how it goes. And with the women, I see a sisterhood of strength and courage and phenomenal women. And I need them to survive. I cannot survive without these women. Yeah. That's how we grow, is to have other women more powerful, whether they have one day sober or 100 years. They're more powerful than me alone. So I need as many of them as I can get to be strong.
One time you said, and I remember it, when you walk into a room, walk in with 1,000 people behind you. Where did you come up with that saying? How did that evolve? Because I heard that once and it blew my mind, because it was such an amazing quote.
So it's Oprah Winfrey, and she said, walk into the room as 10,000.
Okay.
And I heard that at the early recovery, and it made me, that's a part of also me embracing women, because I knew I could never be alone, and I would never be alone again. Yeah. So every woman that I have ever encountered, I take on a part of them and like connect with them like a RoboCop kind of like. It's like, So she said, yes, when you walk in a room, you're never alone. You walk in as 10,000, and you will always have somebody holding your head up for you, and you'll always be your best self when that happens, because the pieces that you're missing will come from other parts of you in that community. And that's the part of wanting us all to win. If you walk in a room and you got 10,000 of us in your spirit, you're just going to be your most powerful self.
So with all that strength that we have, how would you go about a newcomer? So if they were to come in just hating life, didn't think it was for them, and they sat next to you and they just were the most miserable person and didn't even know where to start, how would you go about that?
Well, I'm loving and caring and tough at the same time, which makes newcomers actually feel safe, because I'm myself. And I will laugh my ass off especially if they sad, like I'm gonna laugh, because they're safe. They're right here with me, and they're sad, and I've been there, right? So the last thing you need is, if you feel sad and depressed, is somebody like, me too, I feel like that, like I'm like, shit, this is not the right place for me if everybody in here is sad. A newcomer to me is very priceless and precious to me. And I want them to know that I love them with a love that's so unconditional that they will never have experienced anything like it. And I want them to want more of it, right? So we have to intrigue them with identifying immediately to pain. And that's what I do with the newcomers.
Okay. I had a question. I lost my train of thought there for a minute.
Me too. I'm always doing it.
I've heard a lot of good stuff. So when I first started, I looked up to you. I thought you were just such an amazing, strong person. And I know that there's other women that look up to you too. And that being said, some people think that the strong people can be like invincible, almost, and that we don't feel or we don't have feelings at the end of the day. And what is something that can really hurt you even if you don't say that it would hurt you? What's something that you can't really agree with in recovery?
Betrayal. I still have a pet peeve about it regardless. If I share something with you, it's me, you, and God. I am 1,000,000,000%. I stand by that no matter who or what it is. That is a big one for me. That can cause me harm if I'm having a conversation and I'm sharing something with you that really matters to me and it repeats itself in a harmful way. That triggers something from when I was a young girl, and that can cause or reopen a wound that, maybe I haven't worked in that area yet.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things that can cause me some serious emotional harm, if betrayal.
Yeah, definitely. So that brings me into more of like a state of boundaries. How do you set boundaries with somebody that maybe has done that to you?
I don't usually F with them no more.
Yeah.
I just really don't. I would help them save their life, but that's as intimate as it's ever going to get from there.
Yeah.
Because causing a person, that's the part where you was asking me earlier about not being invincible. I'm a human being with a heart, and I bleed just like everybody else. And so if something was to happen where it was an intentional cause of pain for me, then I have to really be careful about that, right? So boundaries is mandatory from that point on. And they won't ever feel any different. Maybe they will, because, once the circle breaks, that's when we break.
Yeah.
But that's okay to do. If someone causes me harm, it is okay to protect myself going forward from that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Even in recovery, I'm sure you've had to cut some people off in your life in order to grow. What was that like for you?
Ooh, that was tough for them.
Yeah.
For them. Because I've never walked away from people, I've just outgrown them. So what happens is people take their left on their own. And what I mean is like, I am trying to do so much more for my life that I'm too busy to understand that they weren't there, and until I'm like, oh, where did they go? Because a reason and a season, right? God places people in your life that are there for some reasons and some seasons, and vice versa. And so I told you about you doing this. There's a person that did this 10 years ago, and there was some boundaries we had to get over and stuff. So, I mean, it is one of those things where you have to be okay with making those type of decisions. You can't think twice about it.
Definitely. I know a lot of us in early recovery do struggle with setting boundaries. And I've learned a lot from you in the past year that I've been here. For somebody who doesn't have a lot of time and just wants to learn how to get away and be more one with themselves, what is a good piece of advice that you give somebody?
To get away and to be one with themselves. Away, physically away, or?
Maybe if they need to change like where they're at, or if they know everything around them is not working, like the definition of insanity, you keep trying something over and over, but it's not going to work. What is something that can help break that cycle?
So what my sponsor would say is when the pain gets great enough. Because unfortunately there's no time limit. There's no, when you need to break away from something, when that pain gets great enough, you'll know. That's the only thing. No matter how great your foundation can be and your support can be, if something is not working and you're good and you need to exit stage left, the stage has to crush you, unfortunately, emotionally, before you realize you have to pull yourself from under it. And that's one of the things that I would say to somebody, like if you're trying to change your surroundings to protect your emotions or to move forward in your life. Whatever is holding you, it has to hurt enough for you to let go.
I like that. I really do. Because that's what happened for me in my recovery. In the beginning, I had to break. You know, I kept trying over and over and doing the same things, and it never worked out. And finally, I had hit that point to where I'm done, you know, and I gave up and I had surrendered. And it turned into a very beautiful thing.
How peaceful was that?
At first, it was scary. It was definitely scary. But the place that I went and the support group that I had and the people that I had met really helped me through it, you being one of them. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. I live grateful every day. And it's amazing the type of people that we do get to meet in our lives and that we cross paths with. Who is somebody in your life that you had crossed paths with that just made a very big impact?
You. You're a phenomenal woman. And when I have conversations with you, it's so authentic and I feel safe with you. Because in order to even do this, I have to trust you with my inner little girl, and I trust you, right? So you have such grace, and everything about you screams success. And I want you to know that everything about you screams success because you have a presence when you walk in a room that says, I'm quiet, but I'm loud. You know what I mean? Like that.
I
so
do.
Yeah, you're impressive.
Thank you. That means the world to me, really. I grew up very I have no self-confidence. That's something that I'm still learning as I go. And when people look up to me and give me that sense of how great I can be, it makes me think, oh, maybe I can do that. You know, I've come very far in just the year that I've been. And everyone around me is it's great. It's a wonderful thing, definitely. Getting back to you, that kind of shocked me a little bit. I'm like, oh, okay. I was honored when you asked me to be on the show again, and so soon. I thought about many questions, but it's hard when we're sitting here having this conversation, and it gets so real and authentic, like you said. Your sponsor seems to be very big for you, somebody that you really depend on. And how long has she been your sponsor?
Oh my gosh. Almost 12 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, almost 12 years.
You know, and then you have your sponsees, which is great. I have not found anyone yet, personally. I'm very weird when it comes to things like that. I want somebody, like you said, with the inner child. For somebody who doesn't really have a sponsor and is very wanting to look but doesn't really know where to go, what's some advice that you could give them on how to find somebody?
Well, definitely take your time because that's a big deal. When I first came, I was not feeling some people, and I had one sponsor who is now like a sister to me, but it's funny because she was like, call me every day for 30 days. And I'm like, I don't have anything to talk to you about every day for 30 days. Why? And then I texted her and I'm like, this isn't going to work out. So, but my sponsor is important. And I think that is very important for people to get at least a network. You don't need to jump out there and rush to get just anybody because they sound good or because they look good or they drive good or you should start building a network. You can like somebody and what they say and just pick 5. You should always have a fist, you know, something to hold you in the center of women that probably would all tell you the same exact thing if you were to call any of them to get suggestions, right? So start with building your network until you find that one person. And my person was walking in stilettos carrying baked mac and cheese. That was my girl right there. So, and she was married for 30 years. And so she was everything as a woman I wanted to be. She was professional. She worked in the court system. And I wanted strength. And I wanted a woman who was married with integrity. And, you know, you pick the values that you're intimidated by, you know, and she was that for me. You know, and I love her, like I love her. She knows my eyes and Facebook. If I post, she go call me and say, what's up? Because your eyes look different in the picture. That's the level. So I think it's important to find people just like that in your network.
Definitely. What's the scenario that you had with her that you didn't like? You didn't want to hear it, and you just thought against the world, and she probably ended up being right.
Yes. So, okay. There's been many of those. So my first hard conversation with my husband, we weren't married yet. I wanted her to be like on my side and be like, he was wrong. Yes, girl, get him, girl. No. She was like, tell me what your part was. And I'm like, hold on, is that's what this supposed to happen like that? You're not gonna like tell me what to do? She was like, what was your part and how could you have this, and this, and this? And it was hard but that's when I realized that she was shaping me. You know, she was shaping me to be able to be receiving of critiques and dialogue that will be uncomfortable and voices will raise, and you don't have to always run for the border, right? So yeah, I have had a few where I've called her and I was angry with her because she did not like immediately like get the pitchfork.
It wasn't on your side. And being like a girl's girl. Right. And yeah, so definitely we need that type of structure in our lives though, because if we have that friend that just was sort of looking for it, is not in your best interest, but just follows you, it's going to lead to bad things. And we don't want that. So it's amazing that you actually have somebody by your side who's so willing, and the mirror effect almost, like she'll tell you how it is, what you need to hear. You know, lost my question again.
That's all right. That's all right.
Having those tools, let's see if I can get this back. Having those tools that you had when she was telling you that something that you didn't want to hear, in the beginning of your recovery, it was probably hard, and you probably couldn't accept like criticism. What are some of the things that have made you be able to sit down with somebody and have them tell you how you used to be, or make amends in a sense, but not being able to say anything? Because, yeah, when they're hard and you know you were wrong.
Oh my goodness! And you just got to sit there and listen.
Yeah.
It was stuck in my throat, literally, like the bad words wanted to like. But and you get the tingle in your stomach because you feel like you're being punked.
Yeah.
And you're not tough, and you know, I came from the streets. I didn't come from no streets. I'm from Manchester. But it was hard, but it taught me how to stand my ground with respect and know that everybody has a voice, and I need to be able to hear theirs, and they need to be able to hear mine. And so it took me some years to have difficult conversations, and she did teach me that because of that. Like, you gotta be able to take some stuff, you know. And so yeah, I get it.
Personally, I'm not ready. There's a couple people that I'm not ready. I need a little bit more structure, and because I feel like I would just go crazy. You know, I seem like a calm, collected person, but inside I can be violent. I have a very violent history and past. And coming from where I came from into something so new and wanting to change and not be that person anymore, it has created a lot of walls that I'm not ready to tear down. I'll peek over them a little bit, see how it goes, but I'm not really too sure if I should go that way yet. When we are ready to make a change, how do we go about that? Because we can just go on head first, we can plan. What has worked for you in the past? Because you've made some really big things and you do some great things in life. I am really God-centered. And a lot of stuff that I choose, like 2 minutes too. A lot of stuff that I choose is not was chosen for me. And God chooses every single direction that I take. And when he doesn't, you'll know, because it's a negative effect after that. Literally, any door that opens, it has to be the door he opened. Otherwise, he'll seal it shut and then rip the damn door off of the hinges. So I could never use it.
So those are the things that I take very seriously, is the directions that God gives me for my next assignment.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
I love that. Yeah, that's good.
You did a wonderful job. Thank you. I would just like to say thank you to my co-host today. And that went so fast. And guess what? God stopped the rain for us.
You're right. Wow,
You
look
see
at that.
And it's going to start raining as soon as we get out.
As soon as we get out of here.
So I want to say to you, we love you. Give recovery an opportunity. Thank you so much to my co-host. You were amazing.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on another episode of Recovery Life. Ciao.